separou ali, né? Pô, mas eu achei que faltou pouquinho mais, porque eu tinha prometido dar uns tapas na cara dele e eu não consegui fazer isso.
Yeah, he definitely either dislocated or broke his toes or something.
Yeah, we have to see how this heals up. I'm pretty sure it's broken.
Breaking news, Alex Pereira has officially announced his fight with Jon Jones, but there is a serious injury in the picture that could change everything. This isn't just another matchup, it's a major turning point in MMA. To set the stage, when asked about Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight for a potential Jon Jones fight, Dana White shared his honest thoughts. He admitted the jump from middleweight to heavyweight is massive in the UFC, unlike boxing. While he respects Pereira's ambitions, he believes there are still big fights left at light heavyweight, but if Pereira insists, Dana might just say yes.
What is your hesitation about him going up to heavyweight? He's mentioned it a few times in the past. He always wanted that Jon Jones fight, and I understand why maybe that fight wasn't appealing to you, but what is your reservations about sending him to heavyweight at this point?
Probably that he was a middleweight. He was a middleweight, and he's going to jump up 2 weight classes in the UFC. It's not like jumping up 2 weight classes in boxing. It's a big jump. Not that I have any reservations about it. I mean, the guy is he's in a division that there's still some interesting fights. I don't know. It's just I like the guy so much. We'll see. We'll have to talk about it. I just don't see why, unless he wants to retire, why throwing him in at heavyweight makes any sense. Other than I just end up saying he wants to do it so bad. I'll just say yes. I don't know.
And then came the shocking twist that Alex Pereira announced X-ray and MRI results confirmed his foot is broken. He said the plan is to return in June against Jon Jones at the White House. Despite the setback, he isn't backing down. Pereira revealed the plan is to make his return in June for a massive showdown with Jon Jones, and shockingly, he says the fight is targeted to take place at the White House. Even an injury can't slow down the momentum behind this fight, and this would mark one of the most historic and unprecedented events in combat sports history. Meanwhile, fighters are weighing in. Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo believe a heavyweight clash between Jon Jones and Alex Pereira for the BMF title makes perfect sense, especially if the UFC wants a massive event at the White House. They argue Pereira is a bigger draw than Tom Aspinall, and Jones only wants super fights. This, they say, is the fight to make. Their backing just adds more fuel to the fire.
Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira for the BMF at heavyweight. Yes, I said it. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. You want to have an American headline in White House. You want to do it with the greatest of all time. John's not going to fight Tom Aspinall. That's fine. Alex Pereira's been calling this fight. He's a bigger name than Tom Aspinall. And what he was able to do to Magomed Ankalaev, I remember talking to John, and John was like, dude, I just want super fights. Maybe you can have Tom as a co-main against somebody, against Francis Ngannou. You know, Francis is about to become a free agent.
I like where your head's at today, Henry. Every star you have are saying, yes, I want to fight. And I haven't said it yet, Dana, but you want to call me, yeah, I'm down too.
The UFC's probably going to go the route of Pereira and Jones, and I'm not mad at that either.
Chael Sonnen added another powerful layer to the story. Sonnen explained that Alex Pereira calling out Jon Jones isn't about chasing money or another title, it's about legacy. Pereira already has both, but what he wants is to prove who's the better fighter. Chael says this is what makes the matchup so special. 2 all-time greats testing themselves purely for competitive greatness. Legacy, not money, is what makes this fight iconic.
Why does Alex Pereira want to fight Jon Jones? Don't tell me money. Pereira's rich. There's no title. It largely is what is so admirable about Pereira's call-out. It's not about the money. It's not about the title. He's got a title. Jon does not have a title. A legit competitor behind the fame and the money and the cameras wants to know, am I better than you or are you better than me? Jon can make 205 pounds. It is merely a question of would you, the audience, accept Jon 205 pounds without doing the whole you're scared, you didn't want to fight at heavyweight. They both got arguments to the greatest of all time. But we don't have to argue. There is a way to find out. Put him in the cage.
But not everyone sees it through rose-colored glasses. Matt Brown discussed the potential fight between Jon Jones and Alex Pereira, questioning whether fans want a competitive bout or just a blockbuster event. He admitted the hype would be massive, comparing it to Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather Jr., but Brown warned stylistically it's a tough matchup for Pereira as Jones' size and skill pose serious challenges.
A competitive fight, or do we just want Jon Jones back for a big fight? Because those are two different things.
That's exactly my point, right? I want the competitive fight. I think hardcore fans, but that goes exactly right into what I was saying, right? Do we want entertainment? Because what Alex and John is going to do is have a ridiculous build-up, right? Like where everybody's going to be pumped. There's going to be people betting on Alex. There's going to be people, just like Conor going and fighting Floyd, right? There's going to be people like, oh yeah, Conor's got a chance. I think Alex has a better chance than Conor did against Floyd, by the way. But you get my point, right? Like the matchup is literally the nightmare matchup for Alex Pereira. Like John is as big, probably bigger. I think probably a little bit bigger than Alex Pereira. A heavyweight, certainly bigger.
Brown didn't stop there. He emphasized that Jon Jones is a far superior wrestler to Alex Pereira, making the matchup tough for Alex. He argued Jon should face Tom Aspinall from a sporting perspective, but from an entertainment standpoint, especially with talk of a White House card, the UFC would likely choose the massive spectacle of Pereira versus Jones. This could be a battle of spectacle versus pure competition.
A million times better wrestler. Like there's no possible way in hell that Alex, his wrestling is to Jon Jones's level at this point. Even if Jon Jones is out doing cocaine for the last year and then just shows up and fights, Jon comes back, he has to fight Tom Aspinall. There's no other good fight to make. And again, but then you kind of get into the debate of, is this a sport or is it entertainment, right? Entertainment wise, which I think we talked about a little bit about the White House card period. Is this going to be make the biggest fights you can, or make relevant fights? And if you're making the biggest fight you can, you go with Alex Pereira, Jon Jones, 100%.
And if Dana White has faith in Jon Jones to make it to fight night, Matt Brown thinks that the biggest matchup possible would be Pereira versus Jones. However, he still believes Jon should face Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight title. Brown added that Jones' star power alone makes any fight massive, whether it's against Tom or Alex Pereira. The spotlight seems destined to follow Jones no matter who he faces.
Especially if you're Dana and you trust that Jon Jones is going to make it there on time, or not go to jail in the meantime or anything, right? And but I think it's a no-brainer in terms of like the biggest fight that you could potentially make. I still think he should fight Tom Aspinall, though. I don't know which is really a bigger fight. You got to think like Alex. I know he's a bigger star, but Jon Jones is big enough to carry, whatever fight that he comes back to, and if it's Tom Aspinall, he's fighting for the heavyweight title now, and that makes it as big of a fight as if he's fighting Alex Pereira. Just to be fighting Alex Pereira, I think.
And Michael Bisping sees it from the same angle. He weighed in on Alex Pereira wanting to fight Jon Jones at the White House. He said Pereira deserves big opportunities because of everything he's accomplished, from thrilling knockouts to his incredible comeback and massive fan base. Bisping believes Pereira's impact on the sport makes this kind of super fight a fitting next chapter.
We're not getting into that whole debate, but that's what Pereira wants. Now, I will say this. The man should be afforded some wild opportunities. What he did, the way he came back, the way he thrills audiences, the knockouts that he's had, the career that he's had, the impact that he's made on this sport, and the fan base that will once again be behind him is immense, okay?
Chael Sonnen addressed the post-fight celebration of Alex Pereira, which some fans criticized as arrogant. He defended Pereira, explaining it wasn't bad sportsmanship, it was the reaction of a multi-time world champion who's still hungry for more. Chael highlighted Pereira's elite success across both MMA and kickboxing, saying that moment shared pure emotion, pride, and the fire of a fighter who's far from done.
Pereira doing this at the end of the fight, some people found to be very off-putting and arrogant. Remember, I'm going to try to act him out. Are you ready for me? When Pereira does his move, it wasn't bad sportsmanship. It really showed you that you have a guy that's a multiple-time champion of the world in 2 different sports. Don't forget the success that he had in kickboxing. Who's not done winning. He's not done. You got to enjoy that moment when the fight is over and that relief and that excitement and that pride that you have for yourself and your team.
Chael Sonnen explained that a fighter's joy in winning is tied directly to their career's vitality. When that fades, so does the career. He defended Magomed Ankalaev, saying he did nothing wrong and actually went above and beyond by calling out Alex Pereira to give fans a big fight. Chael emphasized Ankalaev's efforts to adapt culturally, engage fans, and deliver entertainment, even if it unintentionally upset Pereira.
Somewhere along the way, all Ankalaev did, Ankalaev's done nothing wrong. Ankalaev not only has done nothing wrong, he has done so many things right. He was trying. He was trying to give you guys what you want. He was trying to give you entertainment. He was trying to give you purpose. He was trying to give you the big fights. Ankalaev is the one that called for this fight, just to remind you. Ankalaev did not get called out, which historically is the way that would work. Ankalaev knew full well, I've beaten Pereira and the crowd's not going to accept it, so he called out Pereira again. He knew he was going to have to show you twice. Very honorable thing. All Ankalaev ever did was try. I mean, I gotta tell you, he tried to bring you right. He's from a different culture. The Caucasus regions and in Dagestan, it's a very different culture. He tried to Americanize. He went on social media. He really was attempting to perform and add this for you.
Analysts are also breaking down Pereira's performance. Eric Richter broke down 5 key factors for evaluating Alex Pereira using what he called the Orator scale. He noted that despite expectations of age-related decline, Pereira looked incredible in his recent fight, completely outclassing Magomed Ankalaev. Eric emphasized that Pereira's performance proved he's still at an elite level.
That those are the five main factors, then you kind of got to sniff out like which of the 5 are the most relevant in that situation. For Alex Pereira,
Richter scale, you could call it.
Yeah, we can call it the Richter scale. And then
yeah, because that's not taken.
No, it's definitely not. And Alex Pereira, I would say that we were kind of projecting an age and athletic decline. Obviously, he's been fighting for a long time, but he made it like he came out there and made it look like Ankalaev didn't belong in the octagon with him. And Scott, I'll kick it over to you. What you thought about that fight? Pereira looked amazing.
Finally, Chael Sonnen circled back to the bigger picture. Chael shared his take on the heavyweight picture, explaining that if Ciryl Gane beats Tom Aspinall, it could kill the hype for Jon Jones at heavyweight. But a matchup like Alex Pereira versus Gane, he says, would send fans into a frenzy. Chael added that Alex already walks around at 244 pounds, making heavyweight a real possibility. One way or another, heavyweight could be Pereira's next frontier.
If Ciryl Gane gets over on Tom, closes the book of Tom versus Jon, creates for no great excitement for Jon to move into heavyweight. But if I produce a poster for you guys right now, Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane, I think that you're going to go crazy. You're absolutely going to love that idea. Alex at heavyweight, they're just simply too big. You know, Alex, if you follow him on social media, starts at 244 before he starts his cut. If you want to make a match now and you're in a big hurry, Jon Jones is the one. Does it have to be for the title? Does it have to be against Jones? No, there's something special about him.
This isn't just a fight, it's a collision of legacies. On one side, a man who's already defied history, Alex Pereira, the fastest to ever conquer 2 divisions, now aiming for something no one's ever done before, and on the other hand, Jon Jones, the most dominant fighter of a generation, the man who's reigned over light heavyweight and conquered heavyweight. A broken foot, a White House showdown, legends colliding, this story has everything. Drama, danger, and destiny. If this fight happens, it won't just shake up the heavyweight division, it could rewrite MMA history forever. But here's the real question, who actually walks away from that cage victorious? Is Pereira's power and pressure enough to shock the world again, or does Jon Jones prove why he's called the greatest of all time? And with a potential card at the White House, is this the biggest spectacle MMA has ever seen? Drop your predictions below, round, method, and winner! Let's see who calls it first. This fight is already breaking the internet and it hasn't even been signed yet. So, if you want daily fight breakdowns, exclusive updates, and the real story behind the headlines, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you don't miss the moment history is made, because when Pereira and Jones finally step into that octagon, the world will be watching.